You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. I'm joined with Paul Joseph Watson in the UK. He's our co-host today. We've been talking about Emperor Obama. Of course, Alex Jones has been calling him Emperor Obama for a long time. It's not a joke anymore, as Alex would say. It is now literally Emperor Obama, because, you know, we use these things metaphorically, but unfortunately, these things are truly coming true. We have someone who doesn't care about the election that was just a couple of weeks ago. He doesn't care that his own party took a massive beating at the polls because he's betraying the blue collar working class that is his base. He's betraying them by bringing in a massive amount of people with jobs equivalent to the number of jobs that have been created since 2009. Essentially, a massive amount of competition for those who are at the lower end of the income scale. And so they've abandoned the party en masse. He can't get his legislative agenda through with elected representatives of the people. He doesn't care that the people have spoken. He's just tired of waiting. So he's going to run through his own agenda by executive order. And it's not just immigration. Next up, of course, is going to be, quote unquote, climate change, where he's going to shut down our energy as well. See, China gets our jobs and they get our energy, but we have to shut it down in the United States. That's essentially the agreement that Obama made with China. Now, Paul, I want to talk a little bit about essentially the way that they're rolling this out, the way that they're kind of managing this. It's interesting, I think, that ABC, NBC, and CBS are not going to cover this. There is going to be a lot of coverage on the Latin channels, Univision and Telemundo. As a matter of fact, they're going to do it leading right up to the Latin Grammys, assuring them that they're going to have a huge audience for the people that he's pandering to.
Yeah, and also reports coming out now that all these pro-illegal immigrant groups are going to be literally having street parties while this announcement is made. I think he's going to speak at 8 p.m. It's going to be a 10-minute announcement. And then he's going to roll out the details. He's going to announce the exact details of the executive amnesty program tomorrow. So again, this could cause problems. Senator Tom Coburn has said that it could cause Americans to go nuts, in his own words, violence and anarchy. I wrote an article pointing out the timing of this with the Ferguson verdict this weekend. We could see violence, looting as a result of the expected acquittal of Officer Darren Wilson. So the timing of it, the fact that it's being geared towards these pro-illegal immigrant groups, which could then be out on the streets, that could cause a confrontation with people who are angry at this, as Coburn and others have warned.
Yeah, let's play that Coburn clip. We've got that right here. Let's play that clip of Senator Coburn warning of violence after the Obama immigration order.
President Obama on Friday is expected to announce the executive order on immigration. What will the Republican reaction be here?
Oh, I don't think it's so much the Republican reaction here. The country's going to go nuts because they're going to see it as a move outside of the authority of the president. And it's going to be a very dangerous situation. You're going to see, hopefully not, but you could see instances of anarchy.
What do you mean?
Well, you could see violence. You know, this is a big step to not work with Congress, now that he's got a new Congress, to go completely around it and to do things that, a lot of legal debate on both sides of whether or not he has the power to do that. But what our country needs now is to be pulled together, not divided further.
What do you think about that, Paul? Do you think we're going to see anarchy on the part of American citizens who are angry about this? I don't really see that happening. I think we're going to see anarchy on the part of Obama.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen confrontations when amnesty proponents have these rallies. Sometimes they intersect with Tea Party rallies. or anti-amnesty activists. So you could see some confrontation. So it's definitely a possibility in the long term.
All right, we're going to go to a break, and we're going to be right back with Anthony Gucciardi in the studio. Stay with us. Paul and I will be right back.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with Super Male or Super Female Vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
In the near future.
When you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball.
Alert. Security alert. This is Homeland Security. Analysis. InfoWars building independent media operations.
You let the worst people get control and tell us that we are the ones responsible.
Prime directive. Discredit Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
A popular conspiracy theory talk show called InfoWars.
Alex Jones is now in an Austin jail.
These people are assaulting us.
Targeting of patriots engaged.
They are never going to stop. They're never going to deviate from their program until we stop them.
Block free iPhone app at Infowars.com. Block free podcast and video feed. Imperative. Destroy Prison Planet TV.
You gotta set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. Intellectually, it's begun. You can feel it.
When I first got online and I seen the price of the X2 and the DNA Force, I was a little hesitant, but I pulled the trigger on it. It has changed my life. I've been taking it for about 24 days now, counting the weight, staying in shape.
InfoWarsLife.com. You've heard the callers of the show.
Several months back, I started taking your Nascent Iodine and your Super Meal. Prior to this, I was barely walking. Now I'm able to function as a human again.
Whether it's Survival Shield, Nascent Iodine, or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shield, Oxy Powder. I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com.
Dash 2, just amazing what it's able to do to actually detox the body. It's great stuff.
If I'm going to promote something, it's got to be something I personally use and that I believe in. Check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight here in Austin. Anthony Gucciardi is joining me in the studio. And of course, we have Paul Joseph Watson on the phone in UK. Now, Anthony, we just had this report came out yesterday about India isolating a man with Ebola-infected semen. Now, this is something we've talked about in the past, that just because someone has recovered from Ebola, it still persists in their bodily fluids for many weeks after that. And they actually took action in India. They had a 26-year-old man who was a native of India, but he had gone from India to Liberia November 10th, and he, 2 months after he was hospitalized in West Africa, he showed symptoms of the illness, they say. Now, he's recovered from this, but they, as a precautionary method, they tested his bodily fluids and confirmed traces of the virus in his semen. So he's now being quarantined because of that. That is something that essentially kind of brings up the whole idea of kind of a typhoid Mary in a sense. You know, we've always talked about people who are asymptomatic with Ebola, but they could still be carriers. But then there are also people who have recovered from the disease who still have traces of the disease in them. And of course, we hear from the CDC that, of course, just because somebody has Ebola in their bodily fluids doesn't mean that they can transmit it. No need to be concerned, right? Just move along. There's nothing to see here.
Well, you know, hats off to India, because they actually did something about it.
Yeah.
What we've always been saying, what the mainstream media is missing every single time, and the medical doctors that I've spoken to keep saying over and over, is, like you said, just because someone, quote unquote, recovered from Ebola, they can still transmit the disease for 60, 90 days. And then you also have people that were in quarantine for 21 days who were suspected of having Ebola, but then the CDC admits that it could take 56 or more days for some people with elevated immune systems and things like that to actually show signs of Ebola. So we're releasing people onto the streets who can transmit Ebola, or potentially can transmit Ebola. And in the case of those doctors that were cured, they can actually still transmit them. In fact, there was a piece about how they were told to not have sexual intercourse with their wives or their husbands. So we're trusting people to go out and not have intercourse with their wife after not seeing them for months and being treated, and saying, you know, we'll just trust them. It'll be perfectly safe. India is at least saying, hey, we need to do something about this, because worst case scenario, it does happen, and then an actual outbreak happens.
I think it underscores the whole idea of risk that people don't really want to understand. They look at things and they say, well, if the FDA approved this drug, it's got to be perfectly safe. And yet there's this long list of possible side effects that you hear them announce on the commercials, or if you bother to read the enclosed statement on the drug that you're buying. You know, you're talking about the quarantine methods. You know, when they say if they isolate somebody for 21 days according to their data, there's a 95% certainty that they won't pass it along. But there's still 5%. So they're willing to accept that 5% risk. If they double it to 42 days, they say then it goes up to 98% certainty. But they're still willing to accept that 2%. And that's the thing that concerns us with as many people now as have come down with this Ebola outbreak, because this is fundamentally different. This is far more than all the previous 30-some-odd outbreaks of Ebola combined. This is more than 4 times as many. If you combine all of those, it's about 2,500 people. And they had 10,000 people about a month ago that had already been affected with it. And it's still growing in Sierra Leone. And they say that in Liberia, it's leveled out. But earlier, we had heard from the World Health Organization not to believe the numbers that were coming out of Liberia because the government was cooking it there. But now we're told to believe those numbers.
And this is bigger than Ebola, and I'm going to break that down in 1 minute. But I also want to talk about what I'm going to be talking about here in this segment and the next, which is a report that's just up, breaking now, exclusive on Infowars.com. Doctors, potential Ebola cases still covered up by CDC. And we're talking about not just Dr. Lorenzi, who came on air, a medical doctor, proven, works at one of the top hospitals in Kansas City area, who's saying that they're disappearing Ebola patients and saying it's malaria. But we're talking about my main contact and his medical professional friends. I went to Dallas, spoke with them again. They are concerned about something very, very serious. They're concerned about the cover-up of these cases, but they're concerned about something even more concerning. It's up on Infowars, but we're going to talk about it in a minute. But I want to talk about right now how this whole Ebola nightmare scenario focuses not just on the disease, which is a small part of it, but overall a big concern, but on the delusion of government assistance. So what this means is, like you're talking about, sure, there's a 5% chance that there's an outbreak and we could all potentially be exposed to serious Ebola pandemic. We're willing to take that chance. Why? Not because we're smart and informed and statistically sitting down and Americans on their home couch are doing the numbers and crunching everything and saying, well, it's a risk I'm willing to take versus this and this and this. No. It's just because the government's coming out and telling the media not to report on potential Ebola cases.
That's right.
The government's coming out telling the media everything's fine, telling the public everything's fine. Fox News says case closed, Ebola's over. In what world? Sierra Leone is still being ravaged by Ebola. It's going up and up and up. And even the most conservative estimates say still, throughout this year, multiple cases in every major city of Ebola in the Ebola toilet of America that were shipping in Ebola patients from Africa. So even the most conservative estimates. So no, it's not over. And you know what's a real challenge to me is still talking about this when the mainstream media is like, case closed, everything's fine, because the people that buy into that still think that everything is fine and there's no actual infectious disease to be worried about. And then on another level, we're just now sitting there saying, well, the government controlled Ebola, so everything's fine. We shouldn't boost our immune systems for the next thing, for the bird flu or whatever is going to come next. And they're ordering hazmat suits in the hundreds of thousands for reasons that are quite obvious to me.
Well, Anthony, it was just this last couple of days that Obama signed another executive order. We're talking about his executive orders on amnesty, on climate change. He signed an executive order granting amnesty to government contractors, private businesses, corporations who